Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live or listening to replay. This was a pop up episode 170. I reinvent, and so I wanted to come before you all today and do this episode. Really excited about doing this episode. It's something that we hear come up a lot in the private. The question comes up profusely. People looking to reinvent systems to not necessarily understand that systems are put together to make things a lot simpler, actually. And so when we look at it from the business perspective, whether it's private trust perspective, whether we look at it from even corporate position, we were asked even a question about a corporation owning another corporation. When we even talk about ownership, is reinvent thought process, which is own nothing, control everything. That's the position. There's no way around the position. So when we get down to I reinvent, the mindset around this episode is focused on systems oriented thought process, not focused on um, looking to be creative in the systems or the creation of the systems, we should say, but actually following, doing, building the mold of the system. Systems come from inventions, systems come from ideas, systems come from plans, and I reinvent is literally the new Web 2.0 version, is the new version somewhere in the continuum where egos get in the way. And so this episode is really prefaced at I, because that is why I has reinvented the wheel. It could be just reinvention of the wheel, but it's I reinvention of the wheel because the reinvention comes from I. And this episode is not to harp in an esoteric way on I, but the ego can block many blessings, can block many solutions. And so the I is it has to be dropped in whatever business we're in, quote unquote, when it comes to service. Why? Because it's about the service. So it's about invention. It's about creation. And so when we talk about it from a systems perspective, though, the systems perspective says don't reinvent the system. There's a public school system, there's a private school system. Those two systems are systems for a reason. They're a system of education. And so, since it's a system, that means that it's there to be in place to produce a certain result. Our position traditionally as trustees is to follow what will be the law, which will be the contract. Reinvention of the system says business is business, personal is personal. That was the invention, and it's still the reinvention. Nothing about it needs to change. But the I reinvention comes in when it says, "Oh, well, own nothing, control everything." I'm still going to talk about ownership. I'm still going to bring it up in my vocabulary because I don't know the terms to use that would be properly as a business person, that is assets under management, under control, directorship, officer, manager, member, board member, etc. iReinvention wants to still talk about ownership. Somewhere, somehow, some way, because they haven't let go of ownership yet. iReinvention talks about possibly beneficiary. Business is business, personal is personal. That doesn't get reinvented. So if that principle doesn't get reinvented, we're not talking about beneficiaries. It was interesting because even at a private wealth conference, sitting there talking to gentlemen out of Switzerland, and their beneficiary was even a Swiss situation to do their best to keep it private from outside hands. from any jurisdiction outside of that jurisdiction. So many people go to the Swiss to get these benefits supposedly from being a part of their country, or whether it's banking or whether it's citizenship or whether it's investment. Whatever it is, looking to go into that country. They do their best to keep their level of privacy, but even seeing their structure, the reinvention, the reinvention is actually wild. The reinvention is wild across the world when we can sit in front of you and literally say, hey, at this point we've seen the Caribbean and Latin American audience expose what type of entities they're using, especially at the $1 million plus level. They're utilizing foundation to operate in many jurisdictions. They're utilizing trust in different jurisdictions. The jurisdictions are traditionally British Crown rule countries, and in the Caribbean at least, and then obviously in South America, there's a lot more of the civil law, we should say, in their jurisdictions, which is interesting to see as well. But even the reinvention coming out of there is seeing those families, and whether they're in trust, whether they're in foundations, they're definitely in those positions and they're operating abroad. Traditionally, when you're leaving out of your country, even for investment, there's those type of entities in place. But the I reinvention says, hey, I don't know what to say to my lawyer or my accountant. iReinvention says you are in a position of trusteeship of your life, but you're not acting like the boss. You are the boss. iReinvention says I gotta go talk to the lawyer and they're gonna tell me everything. If it were only that easy. So we have to follow up with, are they all created equal? No, that's why you have a team. They're professionals. Very exciting position. The new term actually in style nowadays is actually being a boss. So it's very exciting to see. But being the boss means being the most accountable and holding people accountable. Reinvent. I reinvent. I reinvent is not being able to lower the ego and ask questions. The questions that you don't know, quote unquote. But and when we say the ones that you don't know, they're traditionally the questions that people will preface as the stupid question. Now, the environments we come from, they would say there is a such thing as a stupid question. Many mentors would say that there's a such thing as a stupid question. In our particular case at the Vault, trust Christian, know nothing, control everything, we will cater to the question because it's a hand walking process traditionally for everyone across the board. We see this across the board at every level. We can almost say it's at $1 billion level as well, where you see families that are very not astute to particularly leaving systems in place that may have been in place for 5 plus years, 10 plus years, 20 plus years, 30 plus years. Um, I reinvent says when you do receive assets, you don't go in with the mindset, oh, I'm going to go into a new business because I don't want to participate in this particular business venture. It traditionally invention or reinvention is actually going into the business model, seeing what can be infused and grown from that strength position, or what leverage can be created from that strength position. So, not a I reinvention, not a come in as CEO, not come in as a trustee, and now okay, we're going to go in a different direction. I reinvention. That's going in a different direction. What's a different direction? The opposite of growth. I reinvention when we talk about it on more of a family level with the vault and things of that nature, when you're in trust, is family. So I reinvention is traditionally doing things within the family uh, environment and focusing there on the family invention, not the I reinvention or the I reinvent, because it just doesn't serve well. I reinvent. We see so many people, the mentors have shared with us, the egos have made a big part in what is it that we wanted to discuss. And we just put a challenge out to everyone, as we do with the episodes, is, challenge your ego. Challenge, we talked to a partner yesterday and said it was a persona. Challenge the persona that may be such thing as the stupid question. You just ask the question. But we've seen, even in recent consultations, we'll definitely state that in recent consultations where egos have come into the consultation and they just didn't ask the question. If somebody says, hey, we want a 45-minute consultation, but it goes an hour. Okay, it goes an hour, but at least you got your questions answered. The most important thing is being able to go and move forward, having a team of people that can provide solutions for you to move forward in your particular business and in your particular environment. Definitely not a I reinvention. Oh, I'm going to go out and be what they call a divergent, or these people want to be called different terms nowadays. But I reinvention is truly being rogue and taking the greatest risk. So if I reinvention is not that mindset of taking the greatest risk, then I reinvent is just useless, because I reinvent is willing to take the most amount of criticism, quote unquote. And I reinvent is a very unique outlier position. So, I reinvent didn't completely cater to the family system. It hasn't. When you look across the board, wealth creation, wealth generation has been the same for hundreds of years. They're in insurance companies. Insurance companies been around for 200 plus years. There are insurance companies that have been around that long, just like the country. Lloyd's of London, if you want to go cite a first one, Lloyd's of London. This is a company that's been around for over 200 years. Families invest with them. That's not a I reinvent moment. Your family's going to be happy that you went with Lloyd's of London. It's a great company. Clearly, they've been around for 200 years, and that means your family or whatever situation you have going on with them is going to benefit you and yours. I reinvent. That's not I reinvent. That's just continue. If it hasn't happened in your particular family or bloodline, fair. But now we say, okay, we can do that because that is a position of power, is a position of strength. 200-year-old asset is beautiful to have. They're huge. I reinvent. When we go back to the system, though, see, there's the wealth system, is the private system. When you're in the private system at 13 years old, you know about Lloyd's of London. In the private wealth system, you know about that at 5 years old. You're around the conversations. So when we hear the new gurus, oh, you gotta be exposed, you gotta be exposed. You're right. That comes from investment. So that's a reinvestment, not just a reinvent. You actually have to have capital, reinvestment in the education for the family. It's a reinvestment in education for the family. They continuously go to a higher level. If information is not given out because of certain income levels, then once you obtain income, you have to go and get the knowledge used, and go to the next level. That's what we've seen that has helped with geometric growth, is being able to go from one piece of, when people say knowledge is power, they're saying knowledge is money. If knowledge is money, you have to go get the knowledge, do something with it, get more money, and then you have to go get more knowledge so you can get more money. That's why people go get more education at school. Well, in the private, it's the same exact thing. You pay for the private education, you use that knowledge, okay, bam, we know about entities. We know about all of the good things. We know about the private education language now. That's the first course you pay for, is the private education language class. Got to know the language. so we can communicate with the, with the so-called lawyers and doctors, or lawyers and accountants, those people. You keep investing in your private education. It might sound vague, but it's really just that simple. You know that it's alternative to the public school route. And what's interesting is the faster you invest in your private education, the faster you move forward towards your goals. That's the difference. The ones who are willing to invest in the mentors' education, the mentors, the mentors have already made the capital. There's no need to I reinvent. We're going to go to the mentors and follow exactly what they said. Maybe the vault is successful because they have mentors and they follow directions. Did what they did and then took it to the next level. We know what the original architect play is. Everything outside of that is fancy. Everything outside of own nothing, control everything is fancy. Own this. Okay. Well, let's talk about the owner here today. Okay. I reinvent. If you come from the family that says own nothing, control everything, where is our mindsets? Are we in own nothing, control everything? Yeah, we are. Okay, great. So now we can move forward with never thinking about it again. So when we're thinking about the system, we already know the system are the corporate documents, the trust documents, the mandates, the charter of accounts, the charter. We learn these things and we say, okay, this is what we got to do. Not I reinvent. No, it is just stick to if you're going to reinvent, just do exactly what was done previously. Where the mentors have created 30 years of sustainable wealth, where you can look at their portfolio. See, in the private, you don't need to create this privacy. It's already private in the private. But the best part about the private is they're very transparent. See, this is the difference between the public and the private. The private has transparency. They let you know we have $3 billion under asset management. They let you know we have $100 million under asset management. They let you know that they're in fixed income funds. They let you know that they're in bonds. They let you know they're in municipals. They let you know that they have a portfolio in real estate. They let you know this. It's regulated through the SEC. See, the public is the wild, wild west. It's companies, they'll say they go public, then they don't go public. Companies go public, their stock drops immediately. This is the age we live in the public side. This company's worth supposedly 300 million, 800 million. This company's generating billions. But then now on the public side of their books, they're reporting losses completely. Almost 70 to 80% of their entire company is at a loss right now. When you all look at your favorite car company, Tesla, this company says they're in the negative. Their stock is over $100. Easy. You can go look that up. That's Googleable. Tesla stock, but they say that they're not making a profit. Yes. I reinvent. No need to reinvent the wheel. If the company can operate through debt service, let's move forward. But how many people are prepared to go through debt service? How many people have walked into banks? How many people have applied to small business loans, but they have 2 years plus tax returns? And we share and we say at the vault, there's no need to reinvent in the private. It's called reinvest in your education. It's reinvest in your private education. It's reinvest by asking all the questions to somebody that may seem more knowledgeable about this particular subject matter. Even if you have to call a lawyer, you still call a lawyer and get your hour free. We hear him all the time say, oh, you get your hour free. So maybe 10 to 15 questions you call and you ask 10 to 15 lawyers locally for a particular field or industry that you're in. See, you're the boss. You have to hire the lawyers. They don't hire you. You hire the lawyers. So by that being the case, since we operate from that position, our position says let's have a conversation and be able to interview them and not reinvent the wheel, but to go through the system that's before us that says we have to build a team of these people because they're not all created equal. I won't say the price, but I appreciate someone typing into the chat. Everybody that's typing into the chat live, I appreciate you all. And someone posted Tesla stock, and it's just incredible to see where the stock number is right now. You all, I'm gonna drop this on you all, and then I'm gonna get off if we don't have any questions. But literally, they call it the London fix, and the only things that are fixed are things that are manipulated. And this is basic accounting. We were sitting in front of an accountant the other day, and they are from another country. Oh, they're from Bermuda, and they work for actually one of the big firms, one of the big a the 3 letter one, but one of the big accounting firms actually, and they are familiar with International Accounting Standards Board. So, you know, being able to say that you're aware of those standards is very important as an entrepreneur. You hear all the greats say, "Oh, I know tax code better than anybody." I mean, these are some of the best entrepreneurs of our time. Whether it's Bill Gates, even Donald Trump, who else was out there? I mean, Warren Buffett even says that, just to show you some of the loud and the big people that people may know in the public sector, that were on the Forbes lists and took their names off, just through pure own nothing, control everything. And that's what they work with their constituents. So when you see Warren Buffett and Bill Gates sitting together doing interviews together, it's because they're friends. They're the only two people that they know that they're giving their wealth back and forth to. They've created, they're actually wealth bonding. We always love to show evidence of that, as well as the wealth bond that they have. Privately is incredible. That's what you have when you are doing business with other wealthy families. Whether it's GP or an LP. It's so important to understand that there's more collaboration going on actually at the wealth level than ever before actually right now. So really excited about that. So it's no need to reinvent. It's just a need to reinvest. Net investment comes in, like I say, in the form of an education, whether that's through the vault. At Christian at Trust Christian, you can email us, whether that's for the consultation or for the conference that we have coming up. Just feel free to email us. Other than that, we appreciate you all. Like I say, I'm definitely going to make it a point to do some episodes here, just really talking about the value of some of the different terms and lingo and things that sometimes plague the traditional transitioning investor to or entrepreneur to a higher level of growth. And right now on the net, it's just so much information out there, so many so-called money strategies. We heard a partner yesterday say, "Oh, we're reading so many books." It's like, man, you don't need to read all of those books. You wasting your time. Like, hey, I'm reading all day, every day. Well, when are you building your business? Now, this is an individual that actually can surprise most people, and still, in a little bit of work that they do, quote unquote, outside of studying right now, is a great, and clearly they're an investor. That's the mark of an investor, is that as soon as you can afford the lifestyle through the traditional business or passive income business, life becomes free. This is the perspective we talk from a trustee perspective, is being in control, and obviously that's of time. That's a system. You don't need to, it's no, I need to figure out how to work harder as a free man. I'm not trying to work harder as a free man. I'm looking to work even smarter and smarter and smarter. So that's why when we say you're investing in your education, the private education is made for the ones that want to get smarter. The ones that are willing to, the trustees that are not willing to say, "Oh, I'm technologically impaired. I'm technologically deficient. I'm not savvy." Okay, that's called an excuse. We sit around the private wealth managers, maybe 60, maybe 70, and they're on a technology. They have to sit around second generation, the millennials, and they have to be able to have the conversation about technology. How are you going to implement our private wealth strategy through the mobile device? How are you going to implement security with us being able to check our accounts from anywhere in the world through our mobile device? That's a 60 and 70-year-old asset manager that has to sit in front of a 35 and younger, 38 and younger millennial of possibly anywhere from a million plus up, 10 million plus, 50 million plus. How is that conversation going? That conversation is going, well, yeah, we have to give you security. We have an app. Wow. You're checking millions of dollars through an app, huh? Wow. Security must be great. Elections get hacked, but and the banks got already hacked, and we're gonna trust you with that through an app. Yep, yep. That's the conversation that's being had right now. It's not iReinvent there, but there is a iReinvent being pushed on the market right now with mobile and digital transactions. We want to drop this one for sure before we leave. See, what most people don't understand is jobs will be eliminated because of technology. Maybe that sounds cliche, but let's look across the board. Even in the private wealth mobile banking department now, less and less jobs in private wealth management are happening. Why? Why do I need you? We got computers. We got algorithms that can suggest investments for our families. Why do we need the advisors? Why do we need the managers? Well, who's managing it? I'm managing it through the mobile device. There's more information on the internet to let me know how to make investment decisions than the investment manager. Where do you think the investment manager look? He's got a job at Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan. He's looking at digital analytics like you may look at digital analytics. He's looking at publications like you may be looking at publications. The millennial wealthy are not stupid. What? Supposedly, the millennials are the green, eco-friendly, and they want to invest in saving the rainforest. While the Bezoses, which are obviously 40 and up, they say they want to save it too, but they've also eliminated people's jobs. Amazon owns Whole Foods. We go on a trip. There were 4 cash registers with humans. We come back. There's 6 little electronic ones. 30 days later, we're like, wow, okay, well, that's that. This is very automated here now. So jobs are going to leave the country here quickly in the States. The more and more technology continues to develop in the major cities that people want to see it develop in. The conversation is not being had. Why would it be? Because no one knows how to stop the thing that they love now. Oh, we love technology. We love the smartphones. The smartphones have eliminated people at banks. They have ATMs, automated teller machines. They're automated and they're going to continue to get more and more automated. When you walk into stores, it will get automated. Your cell phone will be able to pay for transactions. This is interesting. You go look at your phone. It's called NFC, near field communication. That technology has been around for years. And people are starting to save more and more of their passwords to Google and to their Apple device. Then you have these digital transaction platforms now. And ooh, is it gonna get scary? Hacking, what is the purpose of being in an environment where it's hackable? That's a very dangerous asset class. So let's share with you what the ancient dinosaurs are playing in. Warren Buffett is invested in Geico. Warren Buffett is invested in Coca-Cola. Warren Buffett is invested in what other company? In American Express. Those are hard, tangible companies. He's not invested in the internet. How many people say, I got an internet business? You got an internet business. Warren Buffett doesn't have an internet business. He has owns NetJets. Those are hard, tangible companies that they will produce without an app. Geico, American Express, Coca-Cola. These are heavy investments in the portfolio for a reason. We appreciate you all for tuning in live or listening to replay. Did our best to bring as much equity and value as possible. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace and blessings. Christian at trustchristian.com.